Welcome back. We're in the few final missions of Fear. Now we're on mission 21, interval 11, retaliation, ground zero. Situation: the facility's main reactor has gone critical. A chain reaction is imminent. Mission: Fear operative should attempt to get as far from the facility as possible. Alma has been released. We have opened Pandora's box. And now the evils of the world are being released through another dimension. And before, we had constant hallucinations or dreams or whatever about a black area full of fire where these phantom beings charged towards us. Now they are coming into our reality through Alma being used as a siphon. Her psychic powers are attached to another dimension. And this gets further explained later on in other games, but in essence, it's almost exactly like how in Stranger Things there's that upside down world. Same thing here, only it's a different kind of upside down world. It's more where the land of the dead comes back to haunt us. In Western media, we tend to see ghosts as a figment of our imaginations, usually as a memory that comes from a trauma. Something like a haunted house is a trauma upon an area, with the memories trapped within the history of that house and gets carried on by the urban legend. But in Eastern media, the result is the opposite. The ghost causes the trauma by being a part of our collective history that ends up haunting all of us. Or like how a person dishonoring their family presents a curse for the family. This is why the concept of kammis is hard to follow for Westerners, because Westerners put the cart before the horse. We aren't used to the idea that an ancestor could turn into a nature spirit to then create a weird demonic presence in the world and then channel it to other people, such as The Grudge or Ringu. This is why the haunted videotape and the haunted house in those movies seemed so creative, when they are simply the end result of kammis existing during technological advancement. The ending of Fear is where Alma is trapped in the vault, in a coma for years, unable to die. But she's meant to be dead. She was 26 when her life support was shut off and she died shortly after, but only her body died, leaving behind this gray corpse form. Her corpse is trying to be disrupted by electricity, which is why they have this orb that is covered in an energy barrier. But she's still able to channel her powers through Point Man, because there's a connection between the two through these dark portals that the phantoms later use to escape the mental realm and enter the mental realm. This is also how, in later games, Fettel uses Point Man to still float around and haunt him. You kill the body, but the mind still attaches itself to Point Man as a memory created by the trauma of the family curse. When it comes to the mission, retaliation is referring to how now Alma is freed. Her body is no longer trapped in this suppression, and now she's releasing all of these phantoms during her undead awakening. She's able to retaliate. She's killed her father, which is also your father, and she keeps you alive to keep her power active. As long as you're alive, she's able to use you, and this is how she was able to kill that Bravo team or whoever it is in the second mission. Her body haunts people, and her spirit haunts people through you. In a way, this is attached to how an abusive mother is able to create a weak man by having his anima possess him, with the name Alma being related to anima. But I think, if we reduce it to specifically Freudian concepts, the Oedipus complex explains the situation more, due to the shared hatred of the father that Point Man and Alma share. Remember, Harlan did experiments on Point Man too, and deemed him as a failure, while having Fettel as the successor, who went on to become the leader of the replica army. The winner of the father's appreciation went on to become a general. The loser went on to kill the general and destroy the army, proving that something like father's approval doesn't translate to actual ability, especially when the father is someone evil like Harlan. Your character, Point Man, is cursed to never really be the hero. Even though you kill the Fettel, you never get rid of him. Even though you leave the vault, you never leave your mother's presence. Your character is trapped with a million stains of the past and from his family to forever be cursed. Very similar to Cain from the story of Cain and Abel, and in a way like Cain's mother Eve, Alma was granted abilities from the fruit of knowledge, but what's added on is a desire to seek revenge, which turns the story into an eternal tragedy. That slight Freudian aspect is what makes the ending the way it is, which can go either way. Yes, it's disappointing that we don't get something better as an ending and it feels like everything was done for no reason, but it also presents the aspect of horror where the true message is in how we feel such a thing. In Freudian terms, such a thing is called the thing, or das Ding, where we seek a lost object, which is an impossible reunion for such an object. Point Man has lost his mother long ago, practically before he was born, and this is something that he'll never have. However, indirectly, he was led around to seek his mother, and always had his mother around him, through her child form that haunts him. He always wanted a sibling. He always wanted a name. Always wanted to be something in the world that he lives in, but is doomed to be an eternal outcast with no name and no family. He is the one, the monad, but he is also the only one of his kind. This is how he enters his downfall. So again, so that we don't get lost, this story is meant to be a Freudian tragedy by using Japanese horror to present the result of modernity and technology as the downfall of man. And this is why Harlan says, "It is the way of men to make monsters, and it is the nature of monsters to destroy their makers. But to Point Man, he says, you will be a god among men. They made a god, but this god is to destroy their maker. The god is a monster. The monster is the evil demon of a Cartesian theory of how people are deceived and can be deceived, which Point Man ironically was deceived into becoming. It's rather deep and very hidden within the wording of the game, but I hope that makes it clear. As for Ground Zero, this is a reference to the nuclear explosion that is gonna go off. Easy to connect to the atomic bombs that blew up the two cities in Japan during World War II. Since it's taking place in the United States, it can be tied to the Ground Zero of 9/11, especially since the game takes place and was made after 2001. But Ground Zero is also the location of the vault, where everything happened. Alma being tortured and turned into an experiment, Point Man being born, Fettel and Harlan being killed, I guess Norton being killed as well. All of this points to the Ground Zero for these events. Everything that involves your life as Point Man came back to a single point, at Ground Zero. And if we take it to a digital reference with programming, we have ones and zeros. The 1 means true, the 0 means false. So we can also see the title as ground false, or false location, or false reality, which further references the Cartesian evil demon theory that Point Man has been living his whole life, due to this hallucination that's caused by both the ATC and his mother. I don't want to ramble on about this one point, but the fact that the game makes such a massive reveal feel underwhelming, to then have this later levels underwhelming with action, is a big disappointment in an otherwise epic game. Like, if anything is to be remade, certainly it's the ending of this game, or at least a sequel that doesn't suck.
He's alive, I just picked up his signal. If you can hear me, get to high ground. A chopper is standing by.
Do it, get to the chopper.
Sorry, I had to do that. It's by law. Whoops. This flickering light would be creepy if we weren't running from a nuclear blast. Here's another vault wall, or wait. Is this the same one I walked into? I don't think so. So now there are energy signals and other dimensional signals being summoned from these explosions through the critical chain reaction. Yeah, I'll take that. I don't remember robots, but there might be a robot. What's the slowdown for? Ah, they were phantoms flying through the fire. Fire, no problem. Bullets, ouch. There's a helicopter coming, but I have no idea where this area is. This is a different building. Remember, we came out of Area 2, not Area 1. What the? Oh, portals again. These are supposed to be scary, but they're just annoying. Oops, thought they were all dead. Missed one. This place is not really well hidden with so many open windows. For some reason, this one has a very short area from the secret facility to the entrance. And we didn't find this one? How many entrances are there? I assume at least 2. I mean, I guess the vault is modeled after a woman. A big womb in the center, the bones of a father. Has 2 entrances you can penetrate. Has a big fat guy dying within it. Whoa. They keep coming from that way that we just came from. Now they're in front of us. And they make the door bend like the mecha robots from earlier. I guess they wanted to reuse the assets, so they're not wasted. Like they ran out of budget. Is it just gonna be constant summonings of phantoms? Any more of them? You open an interdimensional gate just to have 2 guys come out? You're dumb. Looks like it's another kind of warehouse. Yeah, to be honest, this is a really disappointing final set of missions when it comes to action. But it is difficult to think of an enemy. It's like, what do you do when the replicas are gone and ATC's been killed off? And Alma's been summoned. Whoa. They made it seem like right when I say Alma, she was about to attack. But no, it was just flying wooden planks. A normal thing to see in a warehouse. Fallen shelves. Another normal thing to see in a warehouse. The hell is this? Did we enter a factory? Are we being attacked, or is that just an explosion from the vault? This must be that factory from SpongeBob where they made the pie bombs. If you drop 1 slice of me booty, I'll have your booty. What is the point of going here? There was no point at all. Wonderful. I feel like half my gameplay is me being lost, going the wrong way, or doing something epic when I had no reason to do something epic. Double pistols. I mean, might as well when the enemy dies in 1 hit and doesn't hit back. Little did I know, these were the best guns for the game, but only in the very last level. It's gonna be a big onslaught of guys now. The only challenge here is that they have a delay in their release, so reflex is bad to use. But they are so far away and so slow, there's not really much of a threat to them. If they killed me in 1 hit, okay, I'd be afraid of them. But they barely do any damage, even at normal mode. Yeah, you can reload the 2 pistols really quick. I'm trying to think if the standoff is meant to be symbolic, and all I can think of is that Point Man is fighting off, not his own demons, but the kami that haunt him and the town. He's trying to present himself as the savior, doing a standoff, willing to take out the problem, but the real problem is within him, not something he can shoot. Oh. That was kind of cool to finish it off. Yeah, I don't know if I need that other gun. The MP5 in this game handles weird, and I'm not sure if it can kill the phantoms in 1 hit. I saw some weird stuff happening with it. Actually, let's see how much ammo it has. Plenty of ammo for this one, but eh. Might as well keep the pistols. It wants me to go here, and I guess it unlocks it once you're done with that wave after wave of phantoms. Whoa. Yep, knew it. They did 2 guys again, and the second I turn off my flashlight to recharge it, that's when they fly. Like the Tommy Lee Jones grasshopper in A Bug's Life. Wait a minute, that wasn't Tom Lee Jones. That was Kevin Spacey. Sorry, all those people look alike. Okay, so without reflex, they go ridiculously fast. So when it forces reflex on you, you have to use it. I still don't know why we're going this way instead of just jumping out the window.
I've tried to forget.
Is that Assy McGee?
I've tried so hard to forget.
Here's that flaming room again. Like the lobby for Husband Hotel. Oh jeez. Okay, I think here if Alma touches you, she kills you. Yeah, see, she lunges at you like a rapist. Like Uncle Paul when a woman gives birth within earshot. She walked like E.T. So this is the memory that haunts Alma to now haunt us because Alma's in our head, riding shotgun.
You were born here, in this place. I was there.
So I was a second baby. There's Alma. And she kills the doctor. Oh, it's Alma. Did I shoot her? Oh. I had to shoot her? So I had to shoot her. Okay. How many bullets does she take? She's Chinese. That's dumb. Now she wants her baby back.
You will be a god among men. Take her back to the vault.
Government came and took my baby. That's forcing me to use the pistol now. So all of that was just to connect the dots and reassure that you are Alma's second baby, next to Fettel. And I guess you have to shoot her to symbolize that you're rejecting the mother's embrace, the mother's curse. But if you don't shoot her, you die. Like, why would she try to kill you? Then if you do shoot her and reject her curse, she follows you around anyway. This part of the game messes up all the symbolism. What the hell kind of area is this? This is like a road up on the 3rd floor of some building. Oh, back there. Other way, other way. I'm cornered. Nothing I can do. Hide behind, Whoa, what was that? Oh, cars. Did I fail the mission? Epilogue. Now we're on the final mission. Mission 22. Situation: massive explosion detected by Hannibal 3 spy satellite in the vicinity of classified Armacam facility moments before signal was lost. Efforts to re-establish link unsuccessful. Status of fear operative unknown. The Project Origin facility was blown up by a chain reaction through nuclear energy, which caused an underground nuclear explosion that rose up into the surface, and the fear operative was kind of in the area, not really. The wind blew us away into a wooden fence that then knocked us into some kind of wall of some building that's abandoned. So the escape attempt, once you got outside onto the road, you ended up looking directly at the explosion. So what this means is that Alma's body is gone. The corpse left in the vault, that's obliterated. Fettel is gone. Harlan Wade is gone. Norton is gone. The vault itself is gone, but the curse, the legacy, the grudge, this carries on within you. And because Point Man survives, all of their evil is carried within you. And there's a stinger at the end of that shows Genevieve congratulating the situation. It's after the credits. So just stay for that if you want to hear her. But this shows that the ATC intended on Point Man to survive, and everyone else to die, because it was part of a greater plan at the company president level, and even the government level, since she says that to a senator. So it's almost like the military was in on the situation to introduce Point Man into the Fear team, to have him meet his mother, to have her spirit and Fettel's spirit piggyback into his mind, to then have the world poked full of interdimensional holes, to then have Point Man carried away by the military helicopter, and to also have the evidence of the vault wiped off the face of the earth. So whatever Norton was unable to delete from the computers, it got erased anyway, and they got rid of Norton. At first, I thought this part was a bit stupid, but looking back, this is a massive twist to the entry that resembles a twist from the show Lost, where you think the plan is one way, and then everyone controlling the situation forced it to look like that, so that it goes another way. And now, before I press play, this part is really short, I want to mention a bit of Greek mythology that relates to this following scene. What happens is that you get picked up by a helicopter, and you have two others with you, the black guy and the Asian chick, to then have Alma appear at the foot of the helicopter, whatever you call that, the sliding door thing, and you're overlooking this JPEG of the nuclear blast. Now, you might be saying, but Erwin, they didn't have nuclear explosions or helicopters in Greek mythology. True, but what they did have was the story of Jason and the Argonauts, which began with the legend of the Golden Fleece. This fleece, the pelt of the golden-winged ram, was created by Poseidon and a nymph who was the granddaughter of Helios. Her name will be butchered, but I think you say it as Theophane. So you have a flying ram as a result of a sun offering merging with the ocean, and this ram was to be sacrificed back to Poseidon with its pelt, the Golden Fleece, being hidden in a sacred grove by Ares, the god of war. So war is hiding this fleece. And this fleece is what Jason needs to get in order to become king. War is hiding his kingship. And it's also guarded by a never-sleeping dragon that summons an army by putting its teeth into the ground, and the teeth become soldiers. Already, we can see that this dragon is the ATC. It's Fettel, with his army of replicas. The sacred grove is the vault. The Golden Fleece is kingship, so the right to rule over others, which was hidden in the vault, and granted to Point Man, but with a slight twist that now he's cursed to carry the woes of his family in his mind forever. The part about this Greek myth that I found interesting was that there are two children who are threatened by their evil stepmother, because their father is the king of Thessaly, and their mother was a cloud nymph, who was then divorced by the king to be replaced with an evil stepmother for the children. This evil stepmother wanted to kill them, so the cloud nymph sent them a flying golden ram, which saves them by sending them to a king called Oedipus, who is the son of Helios, since both the king and the ram were related by Helios, the sun god. And, you know, Greek mythology being crazy jokes aside, this mythological moment is exactly what happens here, with Genevieve being this evil stepmother who overshadows the cloud nymph, who we could consider as someone like Alice, or maybe Harlan Wade's wife. The flying golden ram is the helicopter that comes to save you, and two children, a boy and a girl. There's also a river that becomes significant because the girl Hele falls in the river, and that's why they call it Hele's Pont. Strait, river, whatever. My point was that this relates to the South River waste water treatment plant, and the boy and girl falling can be two things. It can be Jin and Holiday, or it can be Alice and Bill Moody, back when Alice and Bill were investigating the water. Now, as much as I've hyped up this part in symbolism, it's not as good as I make it sound. Just letting you know. Big surprise, Greek mythology did it way better. Alright, let's see how it ends.
There he is!
How did you live through that?
We still don't know the extent of the damage.
We haven't been able to get through to anyone since the explosion. What about Alma? What happened to her? What was that sound?
Fear is dedicated to the memory of Wei Chung. Alright, well that's the end of the game. You see the nuke in the background as a picture, and in the foreground you see Alma come up onto the helicopter. Well, why is that? It's because Alma is more of a danger than the nuclear explosion. So another big theme that this game's trying to say is, there are scarier things than nuclear explosions. Cold War was trying to go for psychics, especially in the Soviet Union. There's also things like Yuri's Revenge that explored how psychics can destroy things. Yeah, I would say psychics are a lot more disastrous than a nuclear explosion. Nuclear explosions destroy the physical and electronic. Psychics go for electronic and mental, and physical. Like, the mental part is the more scary thing. What else can I say about the game? It's wonderful. It's just the ending trails off. Kind of actually pissed me off, honestly. How disappointing the ending parts are. Because there is nothing happening in the end. It's just trying to escape, phantoms attack, and Dennis says, hey, nuclear explosion. Oh, now you're on the helicopter. And then Alma appears out of nowhere, and then it ends. I don't believe I'll be playing the expansion packs. They are considered non-canon, so playing those would just be looking into a what-if scenario from another company that has nothing to do with this story or these themes. Those expansion packs were done just to create more content of missions, not really content of story. I think Paxton Fettel comes alive again, and all the replica soldiers get revived, and then they had some weird reason why. If I had to give this game a review, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. For the most part, the gameplay is fun, but it gets stale about halfway through. For all the things they added into the game, like intense AI and robots and flying drones, they didn't really implement all of it well. It's not like I would prefer harder enemies, but maybe they should have made the flying drones an actual threat instead of just a nuisance. The lasers are too weak. The invisible assassins finger your prostate instead of any real damage. The robots are a threat, but really far and few between. The gameplay is basically a scale of foot soldiers from the weak ATC submachine gun guys, to the elite rocket soldiers, to the heavies, to the robots, while all the ults are the assassins, to the turrets, to the drones. The game is a lot easier than I thought it was. I swear, when I was a kid I had trouble getting through the third mission, let alone the rest of the game. But that might have been from me being afraid of Alma, and not knowing what would happen. Once you're assured that Alma is not there to harm you, everything gets easier. But then there's that stupid part at the very end where Alma is able to kill you, and that's just like, why? I get why they put it in there symbolically, but why put it in there? Aside from the front-heavy gameplay, the backgrounds are nice. The programming looks great, until you start seeing assets flying all over the place from random glitches. I don't remember that from the older playthroughs, but I also understand why things would be flying around. It's an old game, and the graphics for that time are phenomenal. The physics of everything, like the smoke from guns, the bullet holes, the sparks against metal, the blood splashing, people turning to skeletons. This is all impressive because the game has to pop all these up instantly in order to make it look seamless. And in some parts, like when the bullet hole smashes out a corner, it looks more than seamless. I love the sci-fi environment. I love the psychic aspect relating to something like AI or cyberspace for a cyberpunk dystopia. I love the clone army of terrorists going around, specifically to mess with the corporation that created them. I really wish that later games used the Star Wars reference more wisely, and turn the clones into an android army or something. I mean, you already have robots and megasuits and all that. Why not go with androids like the drones in Episode 1? The psychic stuff was meant to make you and your family like Jedis, and the ghosts coming out are meant to be flying demons. I guess they could have had Ghost being used in the androids, which would make it even more haunting. And then it could be more like Ghost in the Machine as a reference. I mean, they really dropped the ball with the sequels. As much as I praise the story, I would say it's one of the weaker aspects of the game, next to the limitations of it being a first-person shooter. I don't want to sound mean, but I don't think it got Game of the Year for its story. Or rather, it was the fact that the story was not really done as a game before, and people were more impressed by the programming skills that essentially locked the game into PC, due to the processing power. Very similar to how Crysis impressed people just from how it was programmed. The story is there as decoration, not the main course. It's an hors d'oeuvre. How many people are you gonna thank? I'm waiting for the teaser. There's a stinger at the end of the game. We're just waiting for it. It's like a Marvel stinger. If only it didn't take so long. No actual Delta Force operatives were harmed.
Senator, it's Genevieve Aristide. I just wanted to assure you that the origin situation has been resolved.
But so much for discretion.
It was unavoidable. There is some good news, however. The first prototype was a complete success.